Hi, my name's Kelly Phones. I'm an educator here at Montavilla Sewing Centers located in Portland, Oregon. Today we are working with the Janome 9450 and we are going to be working with the stitch sequencing functions. So stitch sequencing simply means to take one stitch, add it to another stitch, and add it to another stitch, maybe add in some alphanumerics, stitch out happy birthday. It's pretty simple, but there, of course, are a couple of tricks to it. So we're going to do some fun stuff. This is what I really like because as many stitches as there are on the machine, I always seem to want to mix up my own stuff. So we're going to start with the decorative stitches. And we're going to go into our, let's see, where do we want to be? Let's be somewhere fun. The play stitches. So say I want a shoe, but maybe I don't want all the shoes. Maybe I just want one shoe. Now you'll notice that when you go into your decorative stitches, these buttons across the top change. I still like to turn that pivot button on. The second button, you can choose whether you want to do an endless row of shoes or you just want to do one shoe. So now I have one shoe in there. I can flip-flop that shoe when I add another one, and I can even flip-flop it vertically as well. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, that could be pretty fun, but I probably don't want that first one in there now because that's going to ruin my design. So I can come up to this first one, highlight it, and delete it. So now this is going to be my pattern. So then I can stitch that out and see what I think about that. So that's just going to take a second to stitch out. If I tap my tie-off button, it's going to finish that repeat, and it's going to tie off my shoe and cut my thread for me. And I don't know how well you can see this shoe on this fabric. So right here is my shoe design. I feel like if I turned this over, you can see my shoes better. So this is the back, this is the bobbin thread. So that's how you put groups of decorative stitches together. They do not have to be the same decorative stitch. So I can delete that one and I can add a dress form to it. So the options are pretty endless what you can do. You can just kind of put all sorts of random things together. And when you're done, all you have to do is tap that button and it will delete all of it. If you just tap one at a time, it's going to delete one thing at a time. So I have these. Shortcut to deleting everything is just to do tap and hold it. Now we're going to move on to the alphabet. Choose some block letters. And we have a bunch of different options. So we are going to go capital M. We're going to spell Montavilla. And then maybe I want to continue using uppercase, but make them smaller so they read more as a lowercase. So we're going to go N-O-N-T-A-V-I. Hopefully I can spell this correctly. We're going to go Montavilla like that. I can come back to here and I can come over to my decorative stitches and I can add a star to that if I want to. Now I've realized that I should have one. We're going, oops, wrong arrow. We want to go back up to the top all the way to that first M, because I want one of those little stars at the beginning as well. Go ahead and turn that back on. Now you'll notice this box, that's a space button, and this is a lock stitch button. So this time I'm going to stitch that out on the white side, on my stabilizer side. And we'll see what we get. Oops. And we're going to go really fast. So we're just going to give this a minute and let this stitch out. And we should have a star, a Montavilla, and another star on the other side. Now you can do the same thing. You can take some grosgrain ribbon and stitch out your name, handmade by Grandma. Really whatever you want to do with your alphanumerics. This is a terrific option when you don't have an embroidery machine. So here we go. Here's our first little star. Here's Montavilla. Here's our second star. Now, if I had put a lock stitch there, oops, I didn't want to do that. So we're going to delete that. If I go all the way down to the bottom to our second star and add a lock stitch, that means that it is just going to sew this one pattern, and then it's going to stop and do that, finish it off right there. And then we would just have this one repetition of Montavilla. Now, to get the best stitch quality, you are going to want to use what's called your F foot. It's a clear foot, and when you turn it over, it might be a little hard to see on this one, but you have an indentation on the back, and that allows your stitch to form without the foot dragging on it. So especially these satin stitches, you're going to want to go ahead and swap these feet. And I like to lower my foot and then use the manual one to go ahead and snap that on. And then you're just going to tuck it back under the foot and you are good to go. Also, this piece is stabilizer. This is a really soft flannel that I'm using. So if I didn't have stabilizer on it, it would really look funky. So make sure when you're working with your decorative stitches, you use a little bit of just a tearaway or a wash away stabilizer. So this is the basics of how you combine stitches, do alphabets. If you want to save this Montavilla, which we'll go ahead and save it, all you have to do is push this button. The next thing you're going to do is select a folder, or you're going to create a new folder. This time we're going to create a new one, and we're going to just abbreviate it MON for Montavilla and hit OK. Once we have that new folder, we're going to select that, and we're going to rename our design, because before you know it, you're going to have like 100 designs in here, and they're going to say 001, 002. You'll have no clue what they are. So I'm going to say M name, which is probably way too cryptic for me to remember later what that is. So try to pick a better name than I just did. Hit OK, and hit OK. Now I'm going to delete this. Oops. I'm going to delete that design I just created, and we're going to retrieve that, hit our Montavilla folder, and hit our Montavilla name. And there you go. That is back in here. Now, if you want to see the entire design that you've created, just tap in your stitch field and it will expand it. So what you're looking at here is a star, Montavilla, a star, and a lock stitch. So this is going to just stitch one repetition. So we've gone over stitch sequencing and how you do your alphabets, and you should be experts at saving your designs and retrieving them. It can get a little confusing. So if you have any questions about it, if I can help you at all with it, give me a call at our Beaverton location. Happy sewing, everybody.